Okay. Oh, hi. So today's live is going to be about stress management because that is something that particularly is needed in my life right now. So we're going to do that. Yeah, but I'm going to get settled first. There's a little delay on the Facebook feed. The live feed that Facebook does kind of doesn't really catch that we're doing this until like later on. So those of you watching from Crowdcast and those of you watching from YouTube get a little bit of a bonus material at the beginning here because there's that delay. So anyway, hi. I'm just getting set up and making sure that like my area that I'm going to be talking in is all ready to go. We are at home today. There's a couple things going on later in the afternoon/evening that I want to be prepared for, and I wanted to be like really well rested because this past weekend and these last couple of days have been a little bit stressful in that we've needed to get some grants out the door. One of the grants was brought to our attention by Rachel Hiles. Rachel, thank you so much for bringing me notice that grant was actually happening. We went ahead and wrote our hearts out for that one. It's called Echoing Green. And we submitted that today. That was a huge, huge grant. And the other one we were working on was there's basically a company that makes these extra fittings for Jeeps, and they had a grant that was due today too. So yeah, you know how a couple episodes back I talked about these lines in my face that like get stronger when I'm looking at a. Yeah, they're there. They're totally like moving in, and I've been like getting over poison ivy, and so I mean, like right now, I'm totally aware that I am not really live material, but I'm live anyway, so it is what it is. Yeah, that's okay. So let's do this. So mommies, really, if there's any mommies who are watching, you really get what self-care is and why it's really needed. Because we are so embarrassingly givey. All we do, especially when we have a baby, is give, make sure everybody's okay, make sure everybody's eaten, make sure everybody's had their baths, make sure the poopy diapers are changed and everything. I think that in this respect, my husband, after this last child, has gotten to know what that feels like and has special perspective about how moms typically feel, because I was not in a position to do all of those things, and he kind of picked up the slack and did really well with that. So dads and, single parents, moms and dads, they get that givey thing too, and it totally takes a lot out of you, and you forget to do the self-care things like, I don't know, taking showers, eating, things like that. And so lately, that kind of thing, like the self-care, the basic hygiene things that usually people just kind of do every day and they don't think about it, those are the kinds of things that people who sometimes have they get super, super, super busy and they basically maintain that super busy lifestyle, they forget to keep on with that self-care thing and like down to the basics, the hygiene. It's a real problem for some people. And I have to say, I'm saying this because I experience that on a regular basis. And it started, I got to say, it started with my daughter, our first child. It started then because I was like, the baby hasn't nursed in a while. I got to be available at every given moment so that the moment she figures out that she wants to nurse, I'll be available for her. And I mean, that kind of mentality just kind of, I think it bled into professional life as well. So I don't think it was that bad before I had children. But I think what we realized after we had Tora, we only realized it because of the severity of Luke's do you want to say hi, Luke? You don't want to. He's shy. I'm less shy than he is, but yeah. So we only really realized the severity of how stress can affect people's mental and physical health after Luke's eye condition was like crazy, going weird for the longest time, and it wouldn't stop. And then after we had our access to healthcare, kind of it stopped. That's when it really got scary, and we thought he was going to lose an eye. And so kind of when things like that happen, you really realize how much of an effect stress has. And I've got this little infomercial, what do you call those things now? Informatic? Graphics? I don't know. But I've got this thing that I kind of want to show you. And infographic. Luke is amazing. He should listen in on all of my lives because he's like my second brain. It's wonderful. I'm going to, instead of ending the broadcast like that button says, I'm going to share my screen because I really want to show you what this thing looks like. Someday I'll figure out how to do all of this smoothly so I can just like click over there and it won't be such a big deal. But that time is not now. I'd like to share an application window, and it is that application window. Okay, here we go. All right, so I am going to share this thing with you. Wait, oh, I can't do a full screen thing. Yeah, I can do a full screen thing. That works. Kind of, maybe. Okay. So yeah, stress is totally killing you. Did you know that 44% of Americans are totally stressed compared to the way they were a long time ago? Now, this was an infographic that kind of happened. This was published, last year or so? I wonder how much this number has gone up. Yeah, since then. 1 in 5 Americans experience extreme stress, which is kind of stress that can cause shaking and heart palpitations and depression. And like, who has been in some place where they think they're private and they start thinking about something and start breathing hard and like feeling like they're going to cry, but they can't quite do it, and they need to get. That's kind of an extreme stress reaction, and it happens to a lot of people. It's kind of weird. Some people actually, going back to that, some people think that when that's happening, that it's an actual like heart attack. And there are so many like panic reactions that end up people going to the emergency room, and they have to tell these people, oh, you're not actually having a heart attack, you're having a panic attack. And people are like, really? That's a thing? And yeah, it is. So already, people apparently are working harder for less pay. Work stress causes 10% of strokes, and that's due to a 60% increase in productivity over the last 20 years, plus stagnant wages. That's kind of scary. And stress is the basic cause of 60% of all human illness and disease. 3 out of 4 doctors' visits are for stress-related ailments. Now, what are they talking about when they talk about a stress-related ailment? They're talking about heart disease or heart attack or stroke. Obesity is actually stress-related. Sleep disorders are stress-related. I think all of us at some point have known this. It's just kind of, we don't realize how really important it is until, something happens and you feel like your eyeball is going to pop out of your skull. And stress also shrinks the brain. That's kind of an interesting thing. There's not too many supporting details on that one on this infographic there. Wait, except that over here, extreme stress events like, trauma, anything traumatic, reduces gray matter in regions tied to emotion. And that can lead to future psychiatric problems. That's not good. Stress-related ailments cost the nation $300 billion every year in medical bills and lost productivity. Oh my goodness. What if we could find something that people could do to like relax? And I don't know, there's all sorts of options out there. And I'm sure if people just took advantage of them more, had opportunities to take advantage of de-stressing activities more, then that would save a lot of people a lot of money. And then Oh wait, yeah. So 300 billion is 100 billion more than what obesity costs Americans. Though these, I have to say, these balloons don't really actually show that proportion very accurately, because this small balloon is not 2/3 the size of the large balloon. Just saying. Vacations are crucial for managing stress. So where's yours? Oh, I want to pass by this. I'm sorry. It's too painful. I haven't had a vacation in a while. Well, I mean, we took one, but it didn't feel like a vacation. It was more like a family trip. Yeah. Have you noticed that while I'm talking about stress, my voice has gotten more stressed? This is really interesting. The U.S. workers to take off time, whereas in Spain and England, people are required to take 30 days of vacation. Wow, that's probably the top of the list, I can imagine. Oh, 24% of U.S. employees work 6+ extra hours per week without pay. Oh, dear. And that means they're not actually earning wages that relate to work that they've done. My goodness. So the U.S. average for days off is 10 work days plus 8 national holidays. France gets 7 weeks off. That's pretty amazing. Alrighty, well, that's the very bottom of the infographic. There's all sorts of sources down there. Yes, but truly, we stepped right into the reality that stress is killing us when basically doctors were telling my husband that his liver was probably the same kind of liver as like an alcoholic's liver, because he had had so much prednisone for over 3 years, daily high doses, and that kind of was not good. And then when the medicine stopped working and they were scared to up the dose of prednisone because it was already so high, they had to switch medicines, and that was an expensive medicine. So that took a lot of stress to fit that into our household budget. And so that was kind of rough. And the feeling that you're going to lose your eye was kind of a rough thing. And then immediately, but within 3 months of moving down to a place where we had ready access to green space that is more than just a lawn, but it actually was in the presence of forest, and then the presence of animal sounds and the sound of flowing water and natural formations of rock, things like that. I don't know, that left the biggest impression on our lives. We think that had a huge thing to a huge factor in the total turnaround of Luke's health. Especially since we really didn't have the resources to access medical care while we were down there that first 3 months. It was kind of a wild ride, I'll tell you what. But that for us just kind of told us, hey, this is a very important thing, and that's part of the motivation which drives us to continue with this program that's putting a 4-acre walking trail through a forest in urban Kansas City. Because basically, if we can help people bring a little bit more stress relief into their lives, who knows what people are suffering from, who knows how, because everybody manifests their stress expression differently in their bodies. I mean, like mine, it's in my shoulders, it's in my lower back, muscular things. In Luke's, it was his immune system. So that's kind of why I've been writing on these grants for the last two days. That we're expecting that the biggest impact for our forest is going to be the amount of stress reduction that it actually facilitates in people's lives if they are able to access the forest. So, So remember, stress kills. It kills by screwing up your mental health, which affects your earnings capabilities, and it affects your relationships and other stressful things in life. It's like a chain. It also, if it gets bad enough, it can screw with your physical health. So take the time to really manage that stress. So what's been getting in the way of self-care for you? Is it family? Is it trying, do you have a lot of bills and you have to work 2-3 jobs to make sure that those bills are paid. I mean, whatever is going on that is keeping you stressed, I think the first step is to identify, where, what you're working toward that might be, and this is so totally hard work, might be able to be put down. Some, kind of lining up your priorities and going like, what is really important to me and what is maybe just important to me because of other people's pressure that it's important. So like sometimes when people get really, really stressed, they can have these like clarity moments where all of a sudden they're like, who am I? Who have I become? I hardly recognize myself. What is going on? So those are the moments where actually it's an opportunity. It feels probably really, really bad to be asking yourself that or to be having that thought. But like when you've gotten so involved in life that you suddenly are questioning your own identity, that's a moment where actually it's an opportunity to sit down and line out, well, who do I want to be? What was important to me when I was a kid? What would I love to actually invite back into my life now that I'm an adult? What's really, really important in my life? Those kinds of questions are worth a sit down. And it seems like, if you need to de-stress, the option of like asking off for vacation versus sitting down and figuring out what is really important to me in life and what am I doing? Who am I really? Who do I want to be? Over vacation seems like a crazy choice, and anybody would like ask off for vacation and figure it out how to go out and do vacation. But I'm here to tell you that the other side of it is actually the other option is actually the more healthy option, so that you can really figure out what kind of changes in your life will make it possible for you to regain your identity that you actually want. So anyway, I hope this is helpful to somebody. It's been a really wild ride, as I said, for us trying to figure out how to approach a situation where stress has made our physical health and my mental health. That was another situation way long ago. But when it really gets to a crisis point, that's when you kind of give yourself permission to sit down and think about these things. And it's hard and it doesn't feel comfortable, but it's really, really worth it. It allows you to be stronger through hardship in the future, and it allows you to be more resilient. So anyway, that's my message for today. I think that I'm going to cut this off. I mean, it's like only 15 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and close right now because I've got some self-care to do. I have got to sleep after writing 2 grants really hard for like 4 days. I haven't left the house. And full disclosure, I didn't shower for 4 days as I was writing. I skipped meals. I mean, that's kind of, I'm sitting here lecturing about self-care, but really, if I am going to take my own advice, I need to go and take a nap before I move on to the meetings that are tonight. So I have to arrive at the next meeting in about an hour. So 30-minute drive time, that gives me about 15 minutes of a nap, but I'm going to try it anyway. Little things like that are really important. And I hope that this message like hits home with everybody and that you can take care of yourself. So have a good week, guys. I am going to try and do these live broadcasts every day, and we will see if that actually happens, because there you go. If self-care isn't happening, maybe today, not today, but maybe someday we'll be able to talk about, we'll have time to talk about the hierarchy of need. And Maslow did a lot of work on that, and it's really important. So I think that's all I got to say. If you like these kind of talks, I would love to have actual subscribers, consider yourself a leader in your field of viewers, because you probably are going to be one of the first. But I'd love to continue these kinds of talks about, what we've discovered about mental and physical health and stress, and ways that we can get beyond that and kind of have fulfilling lives using just the resources that we have around us. That's kind of what we're all about. So thanks for watching. Subscribe. Be a fan of Clement Waters on Facebook or Twitter or on Instagram. I'm not an Instagram aficionado, but I'm sure that will change soon. Thank you guys. Have a really great week and weekend.